Okay, so there is a gap, and we've got some topics here. And as I say, these topics are in GCSE, but they're also in an AS exam. But the questions are possibly a little bit more searching with less scaffolding. Sometimes it can't really tell the difference between a GCSE and an AS question in some of the topics. Certainly some of the third questions could sit quite happily on either paper. And a few more topics here that I've just added. Obviously, with the sine and cosine rule, we have radians in A level, but it's still degrees in AS with that ambiguous case, which I often used to teach the ambiguous case to my GCSE students anyway. So here's just an example of a question I found from a GCSE paper and the same topic on an AS exam. And essentially, those two questions could sit on either paper. Obviously, there is new material, and this is the new material now. Obviously, the discriminant, I sometimes used to mention the discriminant to my year 11s because the b squared minus 4ac's got a few little hidden bits in it. And I used to say if b squared minus 4ac happens to work out to be a square number, that means you can factorize it. You don't have to use the formula. It'll be a waste of time. So there's little bits and pieces I used to use just to kind of help them. Obviously, with tangents and normals to curves, obviously the new topic is finding a tangent. Well, it's not so new anymore. Finding a tangent of a curve to get the rate of change. So if you've got a velocity time graph to get the acceleration, and areas under graphs. And for the areas under graphs, I used to teach my top set that I knew were going to do A level, the trapezium rule. The trapezium rule is not on the GCSE specs, but it actually is quicker. And they're going to have to know it for A level anyway. And so I used to teach the trapezium rule for my top set because it just made matters quicker and it kind of covered that base as we did it. Yeah, someone just mentioned about the discriminant being useful for GCSE. Absolutely. So sometimes it's kind of, not to say dangerous, but sometimes it's better to just go beyond the curriculum because it can actually have a payoff. So dealing with transition, well, this is fairly straightforward stuff. Although when I did my recovery curriculum, I looked in a lot more detail at this slide, and we actually had a kind of vote because there's 4 things you could do. You could either assume they know the lot and just, plow on. That obviously could, I don't think the ones coming in on a 6 would like that very much. You could be very skillful in your teaching through starters and questioning and start saying, do you remember this, through very good starters as the prerequisite, or give them some flip learning to do for homework if they're in some days and at home other days. Or you just start the course, but give individual support. Through intervention sessions, or you could do the converse of the first one and kind of say to them, I know you've forgotten everything, so I'm going to take it from the top. I think the disadvantage of that one is if someone's very bright and they've got a 9 or an 8 for GCSE, it could be a bit boring for them, and that's not really differentiating. And a lot of you will tease out using induction booklets and diagnostic tests.